guys, today we're going to look at just factoring. This is 5.2 polynomials, linear factors, and zeros. So first we're going to write a polynomial in factored form. So in the first one, x cubed minus 2x squared minus 15x. Factor out the greatest common factor. All of these things have an x. So we're going to divide by x. But that x doesn't just disappear. We put it on the outside. We're going to be left with x cubed divided by x is x squared. Negative 2x squared divided by x is negative 2x. 15x divided by x is negative 15. Now, we should know how to factor this. We can figure out what multiplies to negative 15 and adds to b, which is negative 2. Well, that's negative 5 and 3. So we drop down the x. We're going to have x minus 5 times x plus 3. And it is in factored form. The next one, x cubed minus x squared minus 12x equals 0. We take out the GCF, which again is x. So we're left with x squared minus x minus 12. So we got to figure out what multiplies to negative 12 and adds to negative 1. So that would be negative 4, positive 3. So x parentheses x minus 4, x plus 3. Okay, the next one, if you notice, we have 4 terms. When we have 4 terms, we have to factor by grouping. So we focus on groups of 2. We put parentheses around the first group, parentheses around the second group. You got to figure out what the greatest common factor is of each group. So greatest common factor of 7 and 35 is 7. And then they both have an n squared in common. So you're going to take out an n squared. So take each of these terms divided by 7n squared. This is going to leave us with n minus 5. Okay? Next one, same thing. What's the greatest common factor of negative 4 and 20? This is a negative. So take out a negative number. Greatest common factor of 4 and 20 is negative 4. We put a negative 4 there. Negative 4n divided by negative 4n is just n. 20 divided by negative 4 is negative 5. Now, there's something you should notice in this problem. When we factor by grouping, what's in the parentheses after we take out the greatest common factor should match. If it doesn't, you didn't factor correctly. So now, you drop down your greatest common factors into a box together, or parentheses, I should say. And then we just need one of these. And this is now written in factored form. Okay, for the next one. Same thing, there's 4 terms, so we factor by grouping. We put our parentheses. Greatest common factor of 14 and 12 is 2. And they both have at least an n squared. So you're going to divide everything by 2n squared. 14n cubed divided by 2 squared is 7n. 12n squared divided by 2n is just 6. Okay, then this one, negative 21n minus 18. Greatest common factor of 21 and 18 is 3. But since this is negative, we need to divide by a negative 3 to get it to match this. So we put negative 3, parentheses, 7n, 18 divided by negative 3 is 6. Remember, these have to match. So then we drop these down. We get 2n squared minus 3, and then 7n plus 6. We only need 1. Okay. Let's try another. Okay, so these, again, we just take out the greatest common factor. Which in this case is x. Then, you got to figure out what multiplies to negative 4, adds to 0, plus negative 2 and 2. So this is x, parentheses, x minus 2, and x plus 2. The next one, factor out an x. Then what multiplies to negative 16, adds to 0, or negative 4. Okay. Alright, the next one. 2x cubed plus x squared minus x. Look at the problem, see if there's anything you can factor out first. These all have at least how many x's? Answer is 1, so we can take 1 out. So we're left with x, parentheses, 2x squared plus x minus 1. X divided by x gives me 1. Now, we've got to slide and divide on this one. You take first times last. So figure out what multiplies to negative 2 and adds to 1. Well, 2 is prime, so the only factors are 2 and 1, but to make this work, 1 would have to be negative. So we write it as x plus 2 times x minus 1, and don't forget to divide by a, which is 2. So we get x plus 1, slide this over, 2x minus 1.